On this episode of Oregon Inlet, we're going to be talking to John Bayliss from Bayliss Boatworks. We're going to be dropping in on Congressman Murphy's press release in Dare County, and also be catching up with the watermen of Wanchese.
Oregon Inlet's something we've kind of, around here, we've kind of always dealt with it. We've always battled with it. When you add Oregon Inlet to the fishing regulations, it's tough now. It's difficult.
What does that say about a fisherman that has a hard time just getting to work, and then once they get to work, they can't work?
Yeah, there you go. Catch-22.
What does that say about the fishermen that are working right now?
What does it say about them? Say that somebody just don't really care about them, they don't want them around anymore.
Most of the fishermen are independent. They don't expect nothing from the government. They work 7 days a week when the weather allows, and they're working when a lot of us are asleep.
I think it speaks to the resilience of the type of person that fishes for a living, especially around here, and I'm very thankful and very proud to have been a part of that for a long time. And I definitely learned a lot being around some really high caliber watermen and guys that knew a lot more than I do.
Local knowledge is something we're blessed with. And when you're just like Tommy Wanchese, this goes in there continuously.
Yes, sir, that's good, Tommy. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
He knows what to look for, and he pays attention, helps a lot of people.
Oregon Inlet is the place that you really just have to know where you're going.
Captain Will, Greg does very well. Greg's a better boatman than I am.
I mean, like now you come in there and you don't know what side of a buoy to go on because ain't none of them right. And it's just a hazard.
A lot of times I just didn't pay no attention and get myself in trouble every now and then.
You can travel almost anywhere else in the world. You have clear water, you can see the bottom, you can navigate safely. It's not a problem. It's really easy. But when you get back home, here we are at our home port, and we got to be really mindful. You definitely don't text and drive. You definitely don't try and talk too much on the telephone, and try and navigate the channel best you can.
So today we're starting a project which most likely will be a very long journey, but we have to start at the beginning to try to give some permanency to the people not only of Dare County, the folks that live back up the rivers, but also the folks that come to enjoy what Dare County has to offer. So we're going to put a feasibility study in and ask the Army Corps to work with the Department of Interior, to look at a dual jetty system for Oregon.
So now what? Matt over here with the fish house, Mark over there with Everett, Mr. Benny next door. What are those guys doing?
We're a tourist area, a tourist industry. And every restaurant from Nice Head to Southern Shores to Corolla should be behind Jetty and Oregon Inlet because it would enhance our business an awful lot.
Yeah, it affects everybody.
Why shouldn't the state step up and say, there's that much revenue involved for us? We need to make sure these boys got a road to go in and out of.
The consumer is a lot of times now having to eat imported seafood, which they'd rather have local, and everyone knows that.
If the inlet was fixed and there was boats back there working, it would just put so much more money in this community.
You know, that's all we're trying to do. And I don't think that's unfair to ask. And there's a lot of money wasted in other areas, and this is a drop in the bucket, and I think they would reap the benefits of a fiscally healthy fishing and boat building community if they would just provide that for us.
We employ probably more than 10,000 North Carolinians around through the workings of the inlet. You look at commercial fishing, you look at boat building, you look at recreational fishing, and it is such a large economic input that we have a navigable and safe waterway. close to $700 million, and this is going back 2006, so we know that it's much greater now, probably close to $1 billion in economic input.
This is how a troll boat or any deep boat, 7-8 foot, would be coming in. We'd be passing this green one here. We'd go a little ways, split the difference between the green and the red. Well, if you do that, just right where that boat comes, there's not 4 foot of water. In order for this boat, or any deep draft boat, they have to run on the back side of this green one. They got to treat this green one like it's a red one. And if you don't know somebody, or somebody don't tell you, you can get yourself in trouble. So we're getting ready to go buy a buoy. That buoy needs to be moved, and the red one needs to be moved. And it's been like that for a year or two.
We're talking about this green one
This
coming
green
up.
one right here, number 55. It's a nightmare.
We started that building and the new bridge wasn't completed all the way. We started the plans for that building, and that's a huge investment for us. And I was with a lot of other guys, we all felt like once the new bridge went in, the old bridge went out, things were automatically going to get better.
Mark said it real good when he was standing there in the back talking. When they fixed this bridge and then they left this place in a damn mess.
Which was a big surprise. So I think we were hopeful that things would improve with the spans further apart, and it has not happened that way. I wonder sometimes what the effect of the beach nourishment, the natural progression of the sand is to come down the beach. The first hole it hits is Oregon Inlet. And I think we just desperately need something out there growing to stop it.
We gotta either own the land or have permission from the owners of the land to put jetties there, and the Department of Interior is not with us on putting a hardened structure out at Oregon Inlet.
In front of the old Cape Hatteras Lighthouse, that was a groin.
That's right.
And that was a hardened structure.
Yes, sir.
Why did they allow that to happen? How'd that work?
That's a good question. They were trying to protect the lighthouse, I guess, from erosion. And I guess that's similar in a growing thing to what we have on the south side of Oregon Inlet, which protect the approach from Pea Island to the bridge, which was in jeopardy, and that was built in 1991.
And I'll say this about the parks. If the parks had not come here, we wouldn't hardly have a place to go to the beach. They've protected many miles of ocean where those of us who call this place home can now go swimming. If they had not, there'd be condominiums there. It would be somebody's backyard. So there's a place for both. But coming together at a table and having a conversation where they can understand it and it makes sense to everyone is difficult.
Department of Interior also have great conversations with Dave Halleck today, has jurisdiction over so much of this. So it really is going to take a concerted effort amongst many, many coordinated agencies and constituencies. So it has to start somewhere. So today at 11 o'clock this morning in a pro forma session in Washington, we submitted legislation to ask the Secretary of the Army to conduct a feasibility study. This is the most studied inlet in the country.
There's an awful lot of common knowledge that allows them to get in and out of this inlet and come by.
And it's hurt the whole community.
Roanoke Island.
Yeah.
Most of us are extremely frustrated with our government and our politicians, and I feel like we've been ignored, and I feel like we've been sold out. It would be very refreshing to see somebody just do the right damn thing and pay attention to and do the sensible thing, the commonsensical thing that needs to be done here, and quit leaving us to hang out here and dry, because we're talking about real lives, and we're not asking for any handouts. There's not a person here. There's not going to be a person on this video that's asking for a handout. We just want an opportunity to get out there and get back.
We learned that the watermen of Wanchese feel like they've been left for dead. We also learned about the financial impact of Oregon Inlet, and that Congressman Murphy is moving forward with the stabilization of Oregon Inlet by getting a survey done by the Army Corps of Engineers.
Here, you can go anywhere and ask the captain for a job. Where you fished out of? Most time, Oregon Inlet gets out of your mouth, he says, say no more.
I'd be the last generation, I know that. It's a hard life. It really is. Day to day, not knowing if you're going to make a paycheck or not.
just because you make it out and you time the tide right and get everything perfect on that time, and and you go and you make it out okay, does not mean you're going to make it back in.
This episode is proudly sponsored by True Grit Sports Fishing.